Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we talk about 10 of the best horror movies that have come out this year to watch for Halloween. And let's get to the list. The Boogyman is a supernatural horror movie. Directed by Rob Savage and based on the 1973 short story of the same name by Stephen King. It stars Sophie Thatcher, Chris Messina, and Vivian Leigh Blair. Still reeling from the tragic death of their mother, a teenage girl and her younger sister find themselves plagued by a sadistic spirit in their home.
Dad, you have to listen to me.
Okay, I'm listening.
Sweetheart, let me handle it.
So I kind of feel like I'm on an island because I really did enjoy this movie. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of it and the look and the heart. There's a lot of heart in this. The characters, I felt, were really developed nicely and just very likable people. The family dynamic was really strong and I just thought it was very compelling. Beyond that, I just loved the spooky, creepy vibe of the entire movie. But it seems like most people were not big fans of this film. But I still argue that it would be a great watch for the Halloween season because of how much atmosphere and creepy dark vibe that it has. So I think this is a great little creepy movie to get this list started. The Nun II is a gothic supernatural horror movie, directed by Michael Chavez with a screenplay by Ian Goldberg, Richard Nang, and Akela Cooper. It serves as a sequel to The Nun from 2018 and is the 9th installment in the Conjuring universe. It stars Thaisa Farmiga, Jonas Bloquet, Bonnie Aarons, and Storm Reed. In 1956 France, a priest is murdered and evil is spreading, so the church asks Sister Irene to face Valak once again. This is the most recent release on this list because at the time I'm recording this, Saw 10 has not come out yet, neither has the new Exorcist Believer, and just nothing else. So at the time I'm recording this, The Nun II is the most current release horror movie. So keep that in mind when you're checking this list out. But I wasn't blown away by The Nun II. It didn't knock my socks off. But this isn't a list of what I think is the 10 best horror movies this year. This is the ones that I think are best for the Halloween season. That just have this spooky, creepy, uncomfortable Halloween type of vibe. And even though I did find some flaws with The Nun II, I still had a good time with it and especially enjoyed the atmosphere, the way it looked, the way Valak looked. She's absolutely vicious in this, and some of the kills are just super savage. So even though I don't consider this one of the best horror movies this year, I think it's a lot of fun still, and one that is definitely a good choice for the Halloween season.
May God have mercy on us all.
The Last Voyage of the Demeter is a supernatural horror movie. Directed by Andre Overdahl and based on an adaptation of The Captain's Log, a chapter from the 1897 novel Dracula by Bram Stoker. It stars Corey Hawkins, Aisling Francosi, and David Dasmalchian. A crew sailing from Bulgaria by the Black Sea to England finds that they're carrying dangerous cargo known as Dracula.
Something ripped apart the animals.
All the livestock?
This looks like a bite.
So this is another one that I'm surprised on how much shit I've seen it been. It's just people with shovels shoveling shit on this movie, and I don't get it. I understand when people say it's not the most original movie, okay, but I don't know, man. I guess because I watch so much horror, I don't need every movie to be a game changer. I don't need every movie to be the greatest horror movie ever made and yet still be able to enjoy them and recommend them. So if you're one of those people that's looking for the greatest horror movie ever made, well then you may not enjoy this. But if you just wanted to have a good time and atmosphere, I mean, this movie just oozes atmosphere. It looks so creepy, just so cloudy, foggy, and uncomfortable the whole time. And I love vibes and energy like that. I love the color palette of it, the way it's shot, the way the creature itself, Dracula, looks, the version that they came up for in this. I like how it looks different. I like how it kind of has a throwback, old school kind of look, but yet it's still fresh and new. So if you want something to not overthink too much this Halloween season, just something that's got that creepiness to it, that dark, uncomfortable quality, I think this is a great pick. Malum is an occult supernatural horror movie. Directed by Anthony DeBlasi, it's a reboot of his 2014 film Last Shift. It stars Jessica Sula, Eric Olsen, and Cheney Morrow. A rookie police officer willingly takes the last shift at a newly decommissioned police station in an attempt to uncover the mysterious connection between her father's death and a vicious cult.
I can see the fear in your eyes. You saw something you can't explain.
I think this is a great choice for this season if you want something evil that's just soaked in this brutal, savage, evil quality. There's so much uncomfortable gore and gory scenes and just brutal savagery that happen in this. It also has tons of mood and atmosphere. And I'm not gonna say that it's better than The Last Shift because I really enjoyed The Last Shift as well. But I do think that this on its own still holds up and is worth watching for sure. Because it does do a lot of the same things that the original did, but I felt like they turned it up, and especially with the quality, the way that it's shot, the special effects are really well done in this. All the costume designs and gore is just turned up to another level. And there's some absolutely disturbing visuals in this film. I think this is a savage little movie, absolutely worth checking out. Scream 6 is a slasher horror movie, directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Jeanette, and is written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. It stars Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, and Hayden Panettiere. In this installment of the franchise, the survivors of the Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter in New York City.
There's a darkness inside of me. It followed me here, and it's gonna keep coming for us.
Not only is this a fun addition to the Scream franchise, this actually takes place on Halloween. It's the first Scream to take place on Halloween, and it's just a lot of fun seeing everybody in costumes in the subway, and New York in general looks really great in a Scream movie. It's super intense, with probably the most violent version of Ghostface we've ever seen. And even though I had a few bones to pick with it, and definitely don't think it's a perfect movie, I think it's a perfect pick for the Halloween season. So definitely get on it and check this one out. From Black is a supernatural horror movie. Directed by Thomas Marchese, it stars Anna Camp, John Ells, and Jennifer LaFleur. A recovering drug addict, desperate for closure and saddled by crushing guilt, is presented with a bizarre offer to learn the truth about what happened and set things right.
There is a way to get them back.
Back from where?
Wherever it is they go.
This was a real surprise for me. I didn't know anything about this going in. I just saw that it was available on Shudder as one of their originals, and so I figured, hey, I'll check it out. And I was shocked. Just flabbergasted on how powerful and dark this movie gets. And the visuals once again in this film are dark and creepy and disturbing. It gets very twisted and demonic and absolutely uncomfortable. But it's a powerful, well-told story with phenomenal acting, directing, cinematography, and pacing. It's a sad, morose, dark film, but one that I highly recommend.
Death is a disease. There's a cure.
The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster is a sci-fi horror movie, written and directed by Bomani J. Story in his directorial debut. It stars Layla DeLeon Hayes, Denzel Whitaker, and Chad Coleman. Vicaria is a brilliant teenager who believes that death is a disease that can be cured. And after the brutal death of her brother, she embarks on a dangerous journey to bring him back to life.
Your daughter has a very disturbing obsession.
What obsession?
Death.
I literally just got done watching this in preparation for this list, and I gotta say, I'm just at a loss for words almost with this. This movie is amazing, and it needs to settle in me for a while so that by the end of the year, I can really place it on where I consider it to be as far as rankings. But I can tell you this much, if I were to make my best of this year horror movie list right now, this one would be really high on it. It's just that good. It's fresh and original with the way that it's shot and the way that it's put together, the acting, the directing, the pacing, all of that. But yet it's telling an age-old story. It really is a modern-day version of Prometheus, of Frankenstein. And I think it's really fantastically done. Because as much as it is that story in so many ways, it has a lot of fresh angles to it and twist, and it doesn't feel like you're watching Frankenstein. It feels like, yes, it's got that bone structure, so to speak, but this is definitely something fresh and new and different. It honestly is one of the most impactful horror movies I've seen yet this year. But beyond that, why I think it's perfect for this season, it's creepy and dark as hell. There's some really uncomfortable, disturbing things in it, and the gore and brutality of the violence is just at another level. But it also has kind of a fun thread to it, and it's hard to explain, but the lead character is just so likable and enjoyable to watch that it gives this movie this infectious kind of feel. So even though it's dark and uncomfortable, it'll definitely stick with you, there is something about it that is also entertaining and enjoyable on some level. So I just think it's a movie that a lot of people are sleeping on. I know it's gonna drop on Shudder soon, but no matter what, if you gotta rent it or whatever, it's very much worth it. This is one that I highly, highly recommend.
What will be, will be.
Evil Dead Rise is a supernatural horror movie, written and directed by Lee Cronin. It stars Lily Sullivan, Alyssa Sutherland, and Morgan Davies. It's a twisted tale of two estranged sisters, whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish versions of family imaginable. I absolutely had a ball with this. I seriously have seen it at least 6 times, maybe more. I saw it in theaters twice and then at the drive-ins a bunch of times. I don't even know how many. Just literally over and over and over because I just love the way this movie looks, the way this movie feels. It's not super deep. It's not one that's got a ton of story to it. It really is just this real simple setup of this family and then all hell breaks loose with Deadites. But as a fan of the Evil Dead franchise, I'm good with that, I mean, I'm not saying this is the best Evil Dead, but I don't really care. I didn't need it to be. But I had an absolute blast with what it was. Because talk about gory, I mean, this has gore and blood in spades. It's just coming at you from every angle. I loved the type of humor that it has, where it wasn't overtly funny. It wasn't necessarily campy humor like more of the original Evil Dead movies, but there's still a lot of humor here. There definitely was some subtle kind of humor that I feel like kind of flew over the heads of a lot of people. But it's also dark and twisted as fuck, but so much fun. I just think it's a total no-brainer to watch this Halloween season.
They like you.
Talk to Me is an Australian supernatural horror movie, directed by Danny and Michael Philippou in their feature directorial debut, with a concept by Daley Pearson. It stars Sophie Wilde, Alexandra Jensen, and Miranda Otto. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces.
Put your hand on it. Now say, talk to me.
This is probably my front runner for best horror movie this year so far. It really is a phenomenal film. And I love that I'm seeing people get behind it and push it. There really is an upswelling and support for this indie movie, and I love that because this is the kind of horror I'm a huge fan of. First time creators, really creative people involved. It's YouTubers for God's sake. So of course I'm a big fan of that. Because someday I would love to be able to throw my hat in the ring and get involved in making horror movies as well. I don't know about directing, maybe just producing, who knows, but it's still down the road. The channel's got to grow quite a bit for me to be able to do something like that. But I just love to see filmmakers coming from this YouTube platform and really making an amazing movie. Because the acting is incredible, it's disturbing, the pacing is just fantastic. I love how this movie is shot and the original qualities about it just ooze from it. It also gets dark, disturbing, and creepy as fuck at times. So I think without a doubt, this is a must watch for the Halloween season.
You have a beautiful imagination. It's going to get you into trouble one day.
Cobweb is a horror thriller directed by Samuel Bowden in his directorial debut, with a screenplay by Chris Thomas Devlin. It stars Lizzie Kaplan, Woody Norman, and Antony Starr. Horror strikes when an 8-year-old boy named Peter tries to investigate the mysterious knocking noises that are coming from inside the walls of his house, which leads to a dark secret that his sinister parents have kept from him.
Peter drew this?
Yes. Is he all right?
Peter has an overactive imagination.
So recently I went to the theaters and watched the animated film Coraline for the first time since it was released. They were doing some special showing of it for its anniversary. I forget what year, but basically for its anniversary, and it was remastered kind of thing. It looked amazing, but that's beside the point. My point is, this movie in so many ways reminds me of that. It has a very similar, creepy, but yet fun Halloween horror vibe, and I just eat it up. Because this is the one movie on this list that I think is just oozing in Halloween. There is no way in hell, I think, that you should let Halloween get by you this year without seeing this one. Because you could just feel the cold Halloween winds blowing around you. It's that kind of movie. Just so atmospheric, but in a dark fairy tale almost kind of way. And Antony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan, I think, are both fantastic in this. They both give these really uncomfortable, hollow kind of performances. Like I said, they remind me in a lot of ways of Other Mother from Coraline. Like, this just has a real similar kind of vibe. And I'm not saying it's the same story, because it's not, but it does have a lot of that kind of same feel about it. Like, nothing is ever quite right, and it leaves you guessing. And even when this movie's over, you're still kind of left wondering about things and having to kind of mull it over in your head. I've heard some really phenomenal theories about what this movie really is trying to say and what the underlying story of it is. But aside from all that, it's a fun, spooky, creepy good time, and one that I think is perfect for the Halloween season. So do yourself a favor this season, guys. Pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. And if you enjoyed this, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week. And I'd like to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean the absolute world to me and just keep me going emotionally as well as financially. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and get one of the little eye icons, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun. If you enjoyed this, click right here to watch my most recent Amazon Prime recommendation list, and I'll see you guys next time.